Badlands, running to Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herald here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, Jon Herold, and should I say happy Monday? I don't know if I should. I typically don't like to. And it sure seems like people are not very happy with me anyway over this last weekend. Probably going to spend a little time, a minuscule amount of time talking about the war in Iran and my take on it that I've been getting so much pushback for. We went over this a little bit on Saturday, and some of what I'm going to say is going to be a repeat of me having to almost explain myself anytime I don't just fall, what is it, hook, line, and sinker for the Trump cheerleading that a lot of people choose to do. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not going to knock anybody for their opinions. And I mean, there is lots of things wrong with just straight up cheerleading and everything. But I'm going to once again remind people of how I operate, why I do things the way I do, and I don't really care if people don't agree with me. We love the friction, right? Highly frictional is kind of what we've dubbed ourselves here at Badlands, and so we're going to continue being highly frictional and just advocating for our first principles, whether people agree or not. Some people can handle that, some people can't. I know Ash, she posted a comment that she received in her DM criticizing me and Chris for our show Saturday, which there were definitely a lot of trolls. I mean, anytime something major breaks, there's always going to be a wave of people that come in, a lot of disingenuous retards. There are very few actual people that I think watched our show Saturday night or watch any of our content and like, oh, I can't stand this anymore. I don't agree with you. I'm going to go watch somebody else. I think a lot of the people who say that have actually stopped watching us a long time ago, stopped supporting us a long time ago. They just pop in to like, hey, I'm a longtime viewer, but I just can't stand you guys anymore. And they just try to bring people with them. I don't think there's many genuine people who hate us that much after something we said, after we've been talking about being frictional and promoting disagreement on this platform for 4 years. So it's a little weird if all of a sudden a disagreement is like, oh my God, I can't take it. But yeah, we had the war in Iraq or Iran, which again, semantics. Some people don't want to call it a war. That's fine. You guys can call it a military operation. I'm going to call it a war. Trump addressed it as a war in his initial speech that he gave. I don't know why people are so like up in arms over that phrasing. But I'm a person who is adamantly against foreign or American involvement in foreign wars. And the weird thing is I know a lot of people in the truth community are as well. A lot of people. I actually did a funny exercise. You know, I got some of the old haters, people who supported the lawsuit against us and stuff. Like they've been kind of pulling their head out of the woodwork and getting involved in the hate against me in Badlands right now. Which is funny. I mean, it's not surprising because we're about a month away from a GART, and this is typically when they try to do things. They do everything they can to tortiously interfere with what we got going on. So leading up to a GART makes sense. Some of those people unblocked us. You know, they had us blocked for months, and all of a sudden, right before GART, they unblock us, and they're engaged with my content. And then I'm going back through, like, they're cheerleading everything going on right now, and I'm going through, like, just searching their profile for a couple terms, and like back in 2023, you can find examples of these people just 100% against even bombing foreign countries, calling it unconstitutional, all these things. But right now, it's like, well, Trump's doing it. We have to support it. So the thing I want to talk about real quick before we'll get to the sponsors, we'll get to some other stuff. We'll talk about actual stories going on with Iran and some of the things Trump has said. Just because I am against American involvement in foreign wars, that doesn't mean I don't support Trump. And it doesn't mean I don't trust Trump. And I'm going to support the way he's doing the war over there. Like, it's pretty cool to see bombing of people we're told are terrorists, I guess. But those things aren't mutually exclusive. I can be a Trump supporter and trust Trump and not agree with everything he does. And this is like really the point I want to once again hammer home, something I've hammered home a million times. It's that we know Trump is constantly engaging in 5G warfare, psyops. We say this all the time. You can't take anything Trump does at face value. So with that being said, the only way to operate is to operate based on your first principles. Like you can't, if you know for a fact Trump is conducting psyops all the time, you literally cannot cheerlead everything he does. Otherwise, you're retarded. Like that is retarded because you will be cheerleading things that he doesn't actually want you to cheerlead for. And the best example I think of is the COVID vaccine. Trump came out, pushed the COVID vaccine, promoted the COVID vaccine. He hasn't once walked any of that back. And every time he brings it up, like this community, the truth community, comes out and is like, well, he doesn't actually want us to do that. He's against the vaccine. Like he's clearly doing some psyop stuff here. And so even though Trump said, hey, let's get the vaccine, everybody, most of the people in the truth community didn't get it. Thought it was poison. Does that mean we stop supporting Trump all of a sudden because we didn't get the vaccine when he said we should? No. When we know there's psyops going on, we cannot agree with everything Trump does. Even if we understand like the reason he's doing it might be for psyop reasons. Maybe he's doing it to accomplish a larger goal, like this Iran thing. But you have to operate on your first principles. It's the only way to navigate an info war, in my opinion. So I'm not going to blindly cheerlead for everything. I do not like the fact that right now America is involved in a foreign war. And I know a lot of other people don't. But instead we're justifying it because it's like, trust the plan stuff. I don't think we have to do that. We don't have to. The way to not get sucked into the psyops is to not blindly cheerlead for everything. And we don't know how long this war is going to go on. We don't know how long we'll be involved there. It is cool to see that all the other countries in the region are kind of like stepping up and also doing it. Maybe they just needed us to kick it off for them so they could take care of things. Because I think what we've been looking for here at Badlands for a long time is like, yeah, we're gonna go back to that regions of responsibility type mindset. That's what Trump talked about in his national security strategy. That is what they talked about in the national defense strategy. What we're seeing now is not that. This is us involved in somebody else's region of responsibility. And that's not always a terrible thing. Like you obviously have to support your allies and whatnot, but considering we don't know the full details of everything, we can claim to know everything that's going on. A lot of people think they know everything. They're lying to you and themselves. None of us actually know. We're all speculating. We're all discombobulated. We're trying to figure it out as we go. So I'm not going to sit here and operate like I know literally everything that's happening at all times. And it's stupid for the people that are doing that way to be criticizing others for questioning stuff like this. Trump wants us to think for ourselves, I believe. He wants to give the government back to we the people. We don't get that by not operating on our first principles and disagreeing with him when, maybe it's deserving of disagreement. My disagreement of us being involved over there isn't going to change the fact it's happening, but I'm still going to advocate against it while still supporting Trump. But the weird part about it too is like this purity test that's almost showed up in this group of people online. Like they always say that we're doing the InfoWar stuff, trying to wake up the normies, right? Can you imagine a normie coming to Twitter to find like some answers of what's going on and getting met with if they question the involvement in this war, they're getting met with, oh, you're anti-Trump. You're a bot, you're a Fed. See, look at this guy. He's a black hat. He's a doomer, all these things. The large majority of people, even outside of our bubble, are very anti-war too. It's a weird thing. If anything, that's hurting Trump. Does that make sense? But yeah, I mean, this is it's the same thing that happens. Yesterday, my son had his birthday party. My uncle's like, oh gosh, people are so mean to you on Twitter. It's like, I'm so used to it by now. Every time something big happens, and I'm like, well, I'm not a big fan of that because my first principles say, hey, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of it when it happened under Biden or Obama or whoever. I'm not a fan of it now. Just because Trump is doing it doesn't mean I'm going to blindly cheerlead for it and defend it. I'll defend what I think is worth defending, and I won't what I don't. But this happens every single time. It's nothing new. And you guys in the audience, who watch me regularly, this is how I am and what I talk about. Like, it is what it is. It's just such a weird thing to see. And maybe because it's I did have that post on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, where I was like, there's a clear effort here. And by the way, I did not expect Trump to actually get involved over there. I didn't. There's a way we can support our allies without having to get ourselves involved and American troops killed. Like, that's the last thing I wanted to see. So I wasn't expecting him to actually do this. And so I was like, there's a clear effort to like paint Trump as this warmonger that he's not. And I still don't think he's an actual warmonger. I trust the strategic reasons he's doing it, even though I'm against it. But it obviously, like, I was wrong in that he did it. Wasn't expecting it. But I've never claimed to have all the answers. I've never claimed to always be right. So I'm okay with being wrong, guys. I really am. I'm going to keep advocating for the things I want to advocate for. It is what it is. Let's see what the chat is saying. Move on, John. It's okay. John, but what's happening if the news is fake and gay, but the war is real? Who should we listen to? It's a great question. I'm not okay with Iran getting nukes. Not sorry about it. Yeah, but we were also told that we took away their ability to get nukes back in June of last year, the nukes that they were working for 30 years. So if that wasn't true, if we didn't actually get rid of their ability to get nukes, and it's just their desire to have nukes, that's the problem. Like, hey, I would love a nuke for my own self-defense. Am I going to get bombed now just because I want it? Like, were they not being honest with us when they said that we took out their ability to get the nukes back then? You know what I mean? Like, so then we should just demand honesty. Like, tell us the truth. If we didn't actually take out their capability to get a nuke back then, and that threat is still imminent, and that's one of the justifications for doing what we did, that's fine. I can accept that. I just tell me the truth about it, And Trump did outline some of the objectives for this goal, and we'll go through it. We will. If the alternative was pallets of blackmail cash, I'll defer to military option. Did we have to do both? 6 hours before it happened, Zach said, no way we're going to war. I think it shocked a lot of people, which is why the community was so like, there's a sense of shock. I really don't think many people, I mean, if you go back to the people that are criticizing us right now about, hey, we're still against war, guys. We've been against, American involvement in foreign wars forever. Like, not a big fan of this. Wasn't a big fan of us doing the bombing run back in June last year either. Let other people take care of their situation. We have so many problems to deal with here. Let's worry about that before we worry about that. Like, those people, a lot of people a year ago were super against any of this stuff. Even Biden, when the military was doing bombings under the Biden administration, calling that stuff out, totally against it. Cheerleading the whole time, every time Trump said, hey, no more foreign wars. No more American involvement in foreign wars. And then when the National Defense Strategy and Security Strategy came out, yeah, this is great. We're not going to have to worry about foreign wars anymore. That's not a problem. We're going to worry about our hemisphere. They all flipped a switch. Every one of them. Cheerleading. And I get it, because some of what we think is happening here, this is like a step in a broader strategic plan that we think is happening behind the scenes. Again, we speculate. We don't know for sure because we aren't ready on that plan. So I understand the excitement for some people of like, oh, finally this has happened. Like, we're taking a tangible physical step towards accomplishing some goals that we think need to be met for the bigger picture, right? So I get it, but they've totally abandoned their principles to cheerlead for it. And that's the problem I see. Bravest, let's just admit we know nothing and move on. Love it. We can move on. But we should cover a couple things. I do want to go over what Trump said about his objectives. I mean, guys, when a war is popping off like this, there isn't going to be a lot of other news to discuss. The Epstein files disappeared overnight because of this. That's been fun to see. New case, John, I appreciate your take. I just think you can move on to the events and don't have to keep defending yourself for this take. Yeah. I get people wanting me to move on, but again, it's like, it's my show, and that's one of the things that's been like most relevant to me the last 48 hours. So Ash says, over the shaming and emotional blackmail about it, disagree with me, make your case. Being offended by a take and announcing your departure because someone has a different idea is fucking retarded. And yes, I agree with that completely. Let's get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we will we'll get into the press conference Trump did today, talking about it. And then hopefully maybe a couple smaller stories after that, and we'll be done with the Iran topic, unless you guys keep bringing it up. We'll see. But first up, who do we got? Oh, we got Benson Honey Farms. Love me some Benson. Welcome to Benson Honey Farms, where every jar is pure gold. Benson's Honey is excited to be back on Badlands Media with their latest 2025 honey harvest, straight from their farm in Nebraska. While they've been busy working to improve our state politics from the ground up, they never got the importance of sharing the best honey around. Did you know honey isn't just a sweet treat? It's nature's medicine, perfect for alleviating allergies, soothing upset stomachs, or as a delicious natural sweetener for baking. Benson Honey is never heated, ensuring you receive it in its pure, raw form, full of natural goodness. At Benson Honey Farms, quality and purity is top priority, and they're committed to providing the finest honey from hive to home. Join the supportive community and enjoy a special offer. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/honey and use promo code Badlands for 15% off your purchase. Benson Honey Farms, savor the authentic taste of Nebraska and support this America First business. You can also follow them on Facebook at Benson Honey Farms. Thank you, Benson. Some of our OG, and I know Mo's been recovering, and she's appreciated your prayers. They were awesome people, awesome family, awesome product. We also got Conscious Strength. Maha yourself with supplements that do not suck from Conscious Strength. Founded by Badlands' very own Jordan Sather in 2019, Conscious Strength products are made in America, and they won't break your bank, unlike other online brands. The lineup includes collagen for strengthening joints and hair, electrolytes to get rid of those cramps, greens powder that tastes good and mixes easy, shilajit gummies, methylene blue, zeolite, and more. Flip the finger to pharma. Be your own doctor and get supplements that you can trust from Conscious Strength. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/strength to shop now. One more time, that's badlandsmedia.tv/strength, and the link will be in the description of this video. All righty. Let me pull up, I think it's Rapid Response as the video I want to play. Green ozone. I haven't formed an informed opinion yet. Not enough information. Tattoo teacher. Every 2 weeks, the nuclear program is up to speed. Since we don't know his intel, how do we know we're not being threatened? We might not. We don't. And so we'll take. I'll trust him that we were, but also they could just show us and be like, yeah, here's the proof. And we probably won't get that. But that's one of the stories that's going to be like the fact now that we've already bombed. Like you can't rip the Band-Aid back off once you put this one on. That's not a great metaphor. You can't undo it. And so whatever Congress tries to do here to like rein Trump in, it's a moot point because now there is a valid threat against us, and we're there. We're balls deep at this point. Maybe not balls deep, but balls deep. I would say is boots actually on the ground, and I don't think we've gotten that, and likely we probably won't. Hopefully we won't. But we're close to balls deep, and we can't pull out yet. Kirby, what if there's just something we don't know that it really is for our protection? Could be. What about the 3 F-35s down by friendly fire? Was that our F-35s downed? Qatar is joining the U.S. to fight Iran. Yeah, there's I'm pretty sure like everybody in the region is against Iran at this point, and even their allies, Russia and China, not like stepping up to like, oh hey, we're going to come defend you. They're sending strongly worded press statements from what I've seen. They haven't fully gotten in the fight or anything yet. Maybe they won't. Hopefully they won't. I think there's some sovereign alliance proofs we're getting out of this. Gordon Q, Trump has broken so many brains. Yeah, for good and worse. Like there's a TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, but there's also like, I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to call it Trump cheerleader. I'm almost sick of saying cheerleaders, even though that's what we've been calling them this whole time. Like Trump glazing syndrome, maybe? I don't know. But there's like, the two ends of the spectrum. Phil Scarborough, the Badlands media folks who don't like to hear it, but we've been at war with China for nearly 30 years. They declared war on us. This is all part of winning that irregular war. For sure. I believe we've been at some form of irregular warfare, low-key, subtle warfare for a long time. And that's what PSYOPs are, narrative warfare. That's what it's about, fighting that. It's obviously different than overt gunfire. Uh, 50% humanitarian, 50% American. What about the story that the Epstein files are in Iran? I don't know if that's true. John, have you ever been at war? No, not a real war like we're seeing here. If that disqualifies me from talking about war, that disqualifies a lot of people, but I'll accept it. At least you stop talking about Epstein. Yep. John, your take is based on first principles. Fuck the haters and warmongering retards. Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of warmongers now. 12 any boy, forget announcing departures. I'm announcing my arrival in 37 days and wake up. Guard fever is real. I cannot wait for Guard either, man. So excited. If you guys haven't yet, get your tickets. We might be sold out of VIP now, but we do have some other general admission tickets. It's going to be a great time. I always wonder if those announcing their departures come back to see if we care. They do, because they announce their departure and then they wait a couple months until something, pressure's on Badlands. They said something that people don't like. They pop in, announce their departure again, as if they've been there the whole time. Because the people announcing their departures, typically, they're not names that you see routinely in the chat. John, we're here, man, because we like you, your content, we support you. Fuck all the rest, bro. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And that's what I'm saying. Like most of the hate is from people outside of Badlands. I know the Badlands community doesn't think that way, doesn't actually care. It's from the retards that were like, yo, you're the guys that literally a year ago or two ago have been saying like, oh, Trump is getting us done with all these wars and all these things, and super anti-foreign American involvement in foreign wars. But now you're not. You're the ones who've changed your position. We've been the same. They're trying to make us the bad guys. So it's wild. Even before John made a statement about the wars, haters were out there, if you know, you know, making their stupid remarks. What they really hate is that we are still behind John in Badlands. Yes. Okay, here's that story about friendly fire. Thank you, Ty, for sending this in. 3 U.S. F-15s involved in friendly fire incident in Kuwait. Pilots are safe. 3 U.S. F-15E Strike Eagles flying in support of Operation Epic Fury went down over Kuwait due to an apparent friendly fire incident during active combat that included attacks from Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles, and drones. The U.S. Air Force fighter jets were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti air defenses. All 6 air crew ejected safely. They've been safely recovered and are in stable condition. Kuwait has acknowledged this incident. We are grateful for the efforts of the Kuwaiti Defense Forces and their support in this ongoing operation. The cause of the incident is under investigation. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, but this is what happens when you get involved in a war like this. There's going to be some friendly fire incidents. There's so many like moving parts in that region too. It's got to be difficult to like keep tabs. I don't know if they all wear uniforms or what. Yeah, a lot of people are done with the crap over there. I agree with that. 3-inch ape. Ash, it's a critical path for the golden age of America. It's a critical path for the golden age for the American people to wake up. It's probably so to remove the Iranian power projection and that stalemate. 2 birds. Yeah. Yeah, and I do think, I did I said this Saturday too. I spoke to somebody who is definitely more well-connected than I am and has fought in wars before. And, he understands my point of view and agrees with my point of view, but he also obviously has a different perspective. And, the potential for a golden age in Iran is definitely there if this is pulled off the way that I think Trump is trying to pull it off, which would be great for Iran, of course. Like, I don't wish ill upon them. I just also don't think that's necessarily our problem or our responsibility. I like, we haven't even fully cleaned out the deep state elements here. We haven't fixed our elections here. Haven't had the accountability here. I'd much rather see that stuff taken care of before we start talking about, hey, let's go help those guys get that for them too, Rebel Nader, this whole thing is my fault. I said, what could be worse than hearing about Epstein every day? Yeah. Final demand. Nukes are fake. So what's the real threat Trump is addressing in Iran? It's a shame we have no idea of the intel he sees. Context will be the greatest gift he could give us. Walberg Forge, I'm leaving, John. I got to go back to work. I'll be here tomorrow. Appreciate you announcing your departure and future return. Brian says bailing out of these planes is devastating. I can't imagine. I'm so afraid of heights. I cannot do that. Like, you see these people who jump out of airplanes on parachutes. I would never do that. John should have a disclaimer statement he reads at the start of each show. Get it over with for new listeners. Yeah. Lee Walden, Hoy, John, and crew don't lose sight that the CCP gets oil from Iran and might be why we shut them down. I mean, it kind of makes sense. We got the Venezuela oil before we got Iran, or did this in Iran, cut off some of the supply chain to China and them before. Ash says, I meant the Iran nuke threat to Israel's stalemate needs to end for the golden age. It's 47 years of power projection and fear porn. Yeah, and a lot of people see a threat from Israel. Some don't. Some disagree with it, and that's fine too. Obviously, there's two sides to every story. But for those who do believe that there's this pervasive element that's taken over American politics, like a lot of people are saying Trump is controlled by Israel, and I think he's kind of removing that by doing some of this. I think he's taking away a lot of Israel's reason for constant warfare, and our constant support. Yesterday, if you watched the narrative, it was a great show. Ghost was on fire last night. Bernie Bright was, adequate, I suppose. But Ghost was talking about how, they're just going to move on to Turkey. That's going to be the next one. And so they're just going to keep shifting the goalposts of who's the threat. But we'll see what happens. I, again, am by no means a Middle Eastern, or even just, I'm by no means a Middle Eastern geopolitical expert. Bass Burns 1. John, I love this community. We support you and the team here. This is my go-to on the daily. Do we have confirmation that GHB or Tucker C didn't have a stroke when Qatar joined U.S. Trump 2028? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what Tucker has to say on his next interview. Okay. Let's this is a great comment, Richard War. Weird how we're going after all those involved in rigging the 2020 election, but I'm retarded, so there's that. You are retarded for sure. We all are. But I am seeing that quite a bit, and I'm curious to see what the election report says when we get it. Because we've been told the stories of Iran getting involved in our election. A lot of that has come from the intel community, which I don't trust. The Venezuela thing, I think you guys are well aware of my thoughts on that. Don't fully trust that take either. I'm more concerned about the domestic threats when it comes to everything, really, but particularly our election. Okay, but let's look at the video from Trump earlier when he talked about the objectives. I think it's right here.
7 years for almost 47 years, this regime has been attacking the United States and killing Americans. Every time you see someone with missing arms and legs or a face that's been absolutely shattered violently, it was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb. They were put there by General Soleimani, who was the father of the roadside bomb. Very proudly, he thought, but I terminated him in my first term. This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's number one sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon, never going to have a nuclear weapon. I said that from the beginning. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. They were on the road to getting one legitimately through a deal that was signed foolishly by our country. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders. And we thought we had a deal, but then they backed out. And they came back, and we thought we had a deal, and they backed out. I said, you can't deal with these people. You got to do it the right way. Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people, and a threat indeed it is.
So there you go. Do you guys remember, did we go to war with Iran back in 2020? Do any of you guys remember that happening? I don't remember. Again, I wasn't as tuned into politics as I am now. I remember maybe some strikes and stuff, but I don't remember war. But this is a video it's circulating now again, but this is from Tulsi Gabbard back in 2020, where she's talking about Trump committing an act of war without congressional authority. I think it's relevant now because what he did again. And whether or not he needs congressional authority, to me, that's like a interesting, we could definitely talk about that. What the founders intended is, yes, he would have. He does. But when Congress is like as captured as it is, that's one of the ones where it's like, well, I'm torn. Because I obviously think Congress is illegitimate and Trump doesn't need authority from an illegitimate body to do anything. Yet I want us to go back to a more like original form of our Constitution and operate that way. And Trump kind of navigates both at times. So anyway, this is what she said back in 2020.
That's exactly what Trump did. He conducted and committed an act of war without congressional authority, seriously escalating the situation with Iran. And so now we're at a point of it's not a matter of, well, are we going to have a war with Iran? We are in a war with Iran right now. So the real issue is, are we going to allow this war to continue to escalate? And if so, for how long? And to achieve what objective?
I mean, those are the same questions we should be asking right now. But when it comes to Tulsi and JD Vance, if you remember that CIA guy, Curacao, they were trying to paint like these two people, Tulsi and JD Vance. And again, this video is from 2020, so grain of salt. But these are the two people they're trying to paint as like the anti-war people within the administration. So I'm curious to watch that kind of unfold over the coming weeks. Just something to keep an eye on. That's why I wanted to show that video. Real quick, no update on the Doge website. Silver is at 89, over 89. Gold is at over 5,300. That's awesome. I saw Bitcoin was ripping earlier. It's over 69,000. No update on the presidential website. And then we can get to here. This is a story that's in the Washington Post. I think it's worth reading real quick because some sovereign alliance stuff. And again, fake news, a lot of fake news flying around, especially when things are like this are hot and heavy. It's really difficult. Like we could be reading a story here and be like, oh, this is cool. It's probably based on anonymous sources, all these things. As always, we don't know if we can trust any of it. But some of the stuff, it's like, okay, well, if this is true, I would say the Saudis being involved, Mohammed bin Salman, that's some sovereign alliance stuff right there. That's something to key in on and monitor and see if it ends up actually being true, if we get any confirmation on it. But anyway, push from Saudis, Israel helped move Trump to attack Iran. U.S. intelligence assessments saw no imminent threat, but regional allies argued now is the time to strike. And this is the part that they're trying to really run with because they're always looking for reasons to delegitimize and get rid of Trump, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if among a myriad of reasons they're going to attempt, whether before or after the midterms, the impeachment discussion will come up surrounding these Iran strikes. I can almost guarantee it. Again, something to monitor. President Donald Trump launched Saturday's wide-ranging attack on Iran after a weeks-long lobbying effort by an unusual pair of U.S. allies in the Middle East, Israel and Saudi Arabia. Here we go, according to 4 people familiar with the matter. As Israeli and U.S. forces teamed to topple Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei for nearly 4 decades in power, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman made multiple private phone calls to Trump over the past month, advocating a U.S. attack despite his public support for a diplomatic solution. 4 people said. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, continued his long-running public campaign. So the thing is that I do find this more interesting than like other story. Like if they had said some other Middle Eastern leader did it. Mohammed bin Salman, he's like one of the Sovereign Alliance bros. He's the guy that I anticipate, and I think other people do, being one of the primary people in the region there, kind of leading that region of responsibility. And so him being like, hey, Trump, we're ready. We're ready to take up our role. You know, we're ready to take on that responsibility in our region. We just need a little kickoff party. Maybe that's what Trump decided to do. Maybe this is the last time we ever get involved in a foreign conflict, which would be amazing. Because that's ultimately what I want. Worry about ourselves here. But we'll see. Some Sovereign Alliance stuff definitely going on, though. One thing that's been proven time and time again, says Rebel Nader, is that the government will not tell us the truth. Isn't that a shame? Quiet Coney, Trump forms a board of peace with mostly Middle East. We armed most of the Middle East. He must have been warned. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, you know, board of peace, and then like within a week or 2 after the first meeting, bombing the shit out of Iran. That's at least comical. You guys can laugh at that. Ramon 222, I suspect this military action will remove Iran as a deep state stronghold. That's definitely what they appear to be doing. It's going to be the same template as Venezuela. And I know they talked about this a lot last night on the narrative, but they want those forever wars. They want the conflict. They want actual regime change. And it's funny, it's kind of funny watching the administration dance around that, because they're like, this isn't regime change. We're just, you know, gonna end up getting a different regime because we're bombing the current regime. Like, they don't want to call it a regime change. It'll just be interesting to see how it actually plays out. They're going to rug pull, I think, that what the neocons actually want in the forever war. So I don't think we're going to have a long-term conflict here. I do not believe that's what Trump's goal here is. And I trust that that's not what his goal is. I still support Trump. But I think it's going to be very much in line with the Venezuela template, where everybody wanted an actual regime change down there, and Trump didn't give it to them. Delcy is no different, really. I mean, it's Maduro's right-hand woman. Shouldn't say no different. She doesn't have a penis. But very similar in ideology. Ritmore, here we go again. I think you have had to follow the Q drops, understand what really happened to Little Rocket Man to understand what's really happening in Iran. So if I would just follow the Q drops, I'd be pro-war in foreign country. That's what you're saying. I just don't understand why I should be pro-war in a foreign country. That's retarded, Ritmore. Love you. You're great. I love the disagreement. But just like you guys can call me retarded when I'm wrong, I'm going to call you retarded when I think you're wrong. NGO org's got to go first. I think everybody has a different opinion on the order of operations here. You know, that's the thing. We trust Trump is following the correct order of operations because we don't have as much information as he does. But yeah. Rebel Nate, oh yes, the Q drops are gospel, John. Get with the program. I'm aware. I've been told. I still think this is interesting how Trump is vowing full immunity to Iranian military, and people like, if you guys stop that, we'll give you full immunity. And then you get these stories coming out, and I don't know how much the stories are true, of like, yeah, they're trying to negotiate, they're trying to lay down their arms, but Trump's like, nah, we're going to keep bombing you first for a while. And I don't know. I think the reason they're doing that is, again, to like paint Trump in a negative light. But we'll see what happens. Let's keep going here. Babbage 3. For $5, friendly reminder to turn your ghost calendars to March. I don't know, but whoever did March's image must be really cool and smart. I have a guess that's Babbage. Babbage, you could have left that comment over on our YouTube channel. I check those now for super chats. I keep tabs on you guys over there. Here, most of Congress sold out to America. Another impeachment attempt won't go well for anyone involved. That's the interesting thing, though, about the midterms, right? I mean, we keep talking about the midterms. If we don't fix our election stuff before then, they are going to steal seats. The uniparty will not be cleaned out. And it is very possible that not only do they impeach him, but they could get some uniparty people to pull in the Senate. It just depends how it goes down. Very much looking forward to Trump nationalizing our elections. I hope we get that executive order soon. Babbage, do you check the YouTube chat? Do you really? I try to occasionally. Tim Thomas, I think everyone feels the same about war, but just as you say, they trust Trump. But yes, trusting Trump does not mean we blindly go against our own first principles. Shouldn't do that. Should never do that. Pathfinder, I'm going to scold him for this. I gave BB a super chat on YouTube last night, but he didn't say anything about it. It's too bad. Trump has said there will be voter ID before the midterms. I agree. Yeah, said that. Just waiting for it to come out. It looks like Russia is moving on some Ukraine stuff here. Russian agents raid Ukraine-linked terrorist and fraud networks. Russia's FSB has shut down 100 illegal channels and arrested over 200 people in a nationwide crackdown. I think it's interesting some of the stories we're getting out of Ukraine now that the Iran stuff is popping off, considering Iran and Russia are supposedly allies, and Trump is trying to negotiate peace with Putin, obviously. Trump is supposed to be meeting with China soon. So to see some of these stories, like Zelensky comes out and says, you know, hey, I'm declaring that we won the war, even though we're settling on, oh, here, let me show you this article too. Even though we're settling on the boundaries that were in place that Russia wanted this entire time and been there for like 3 years or whatever. But check this story out. Zelensky offers help to stop Iranian drones in return for a truce. Vladimir Zelensky offered to send his best experts in shooting down Iranian drones to the Middle East if leaders there convince Vladimir Putin to agree to a month-long truce in Russia's war on Ukraine. 4 years of Russia's full-scale invasion have allowed Kyiv to develop unique expertise in intercepting drones, many of them Iranian-made Shaheds, currently being deployed against countries such as the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. I would suggest the following. Leaders of the Middle East have great relations with Russians. They can ask the Russians to implement a month-long ceasefire. Once a truce is in place, we will send our best operators of drone interceptors to the Middle East countries. The ceasefire could also be called for 2 months or 2 weeks so we can help the Middle East countries to protect civilians. Zelensky's just trying to do the right thing. He's got such a big heart. He's a good dude. It's freaking hilarious. What else here? Hold on. That might be all the stories I have on Iran. I mean, we obviously killed Khamenei. Not going to lose sleep over that one. Happy to see that. Taking on a lot of the leadership. Again, it's going to be so interesting to see how they fill the void there, because Trump is basically saying that he's going to allow them to do it themselves. And I hope that's what happens, because that's not what the intelligence community is going to want. It's not what the deep state of the globalists are going to want. And this is how, we say he's going to rug pull what the neocons actually want. When they do the color revolutions, which you can kind of say that this is a color revolution of sorts. Not even of sorts, it is. Just depends on who gets control afterwards, right? If they get their way, they're going to implement somebody that they can control. And I don't think Trump's going to allow that, but it's going to be interesting to see how they actually pull it off. What else here? Oil prices obviously went up, jumped over $70 amid Iran war, Strait of Hormuz shipping fears. Brent crude prices increased by 8.6%. at $79.11 per barrel. They spiked Monday to nearly $80 a barrel amid the United States war with Iran as shippers are being cautious about entering the Strait of Hormuz, a major shipping channel. Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on the oil prices. Man, you know what? I might not have a whole, like every headline is everywhere is about the war. All other news stops when war kicks off. Well, and obviously the Texas Senate. Is the Doc Chambers person in here today? I might have a congressman come on this week, by the way. Somebody I've had on before, Pat Harrigan. His team reached out to talk about like a post he had, and I think I'm gonna get him on. I've already asked him whether we should be paying taxes, so probably won't repeat that question necessarily. But maybe I will see if his answer's changed. But it'd be interesting to get his perspective on the war situation. He's a former military man himself. We can ask about some other things too. Where can I buy stock and toilet paper? I don't know. So many chemtrails in SoCal this morning. You could play tic-tac-toe. CBS just released a new series CIA trying to get out front of coming events. JFK Pede number 57. I don't know if JFK had that many Peds. Like I don't like Bush and Obama didn't even have. Obama did. Bush, I think, was in the 40s by the time he was done. Yeah, is there anything else? I'm just going to check if I have any other headlines. Otherwise, I'm just going to chat with you guys for the last 12 minutes. You know what? How about this? I'm going to play a quick Burning Bright commercial, and then we'll chat for a little bit.
Legend says, on St. Patrick's Day, a beard without oil is just a chin with ambition. But a beard with soft disclosure beard oil, that's true treasure. Spiced vanilla, naked, smooth as a leprechaun's getaway plan. Soft enough to impress your barber, bold enough to confuse a baby goat. And this boar bristle brush tames your beard like it holds the crown coin. Every bottle is American made, which means when you buy Soft Disclosure, you're supporting 6 American small businesses. That's not luck, that's capitalism with cheekbones. And while you're at it, try our mint green deodorant, because even legends need fresh pits. Soft Disclosure, go for gold. Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code TINYBRIGHT for 15% off.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bundle discounts.
Misbehaving Irishman says, I trust my own analysis of current events more than most podcasters. They aren't the only ones with perception of current events or life's experience. They have a podcast. That's it. Totally agree. I don't think I've ever claimed to be like 100% right all the time. I'm also not the smartest. I've never claimed that. A lot of we have a really intelligent group of chatters. Bam bitch, or John, are we still under devolution? I might have missed your thoughts on that. That's one thing I don't know for sure. I don't know. I go back and forth on it because I don't know. When you look at Biden's executive order that partially revoked EO 13961, I was like, holy cow, that's a big signal. That's a that's a transition phase. And we're moving to the next phase, it seemed. Then sometimes you see things where it's like, hey, maybe we're still in it, maybe we're not. I don't know. Still waiting on the national resilience strategy. John, talk about Iranian squirters. Oh yeah, that's so funny. Hold on. You guys are gonna love this. Here we go. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. Check this out.
That particular incident was, you have air defenses and the lot's coming in and you hit most of it. And we absolutely do. We have incredible air defenders. Every once in a while, you might have one, unfortunately, we call it a squirter that makes its way through. And in that particular case, it happened to hit a tactical operations center that was fortified, but these are powerful weapons. So we certainly will do, as I said, moments like that, as we remember them and we take care of them and take care of their families, only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we do this properly. That particular incident was,
Did you catch
you
it?
have air defenses and the lot's coming in and you hit most of it. And we absolutely do. We have incredible air defenders. Every once in a while, you might have one, unfortunately, we call it a squirter that makes its way through.
Those Iranian squirters. Got to be careful for those things. They'll get you. So funny. Misbehaving Irishman. I respect your research very much, John. That wasn't a slam. No, you're absolutely right, man, by your comment. Misbehaving Irishman. We have a podcast. I've encouraged many times people to, like, if you think you understand things and have something to say, start a podcast. Like, look at Jonathan Drake. He's like one of the smartest people I've ever met. And when I met him, he wasn't doing a podcast. I was like, dude, you start putting yourself out there. I've always supported that. Even some of the people that like didn't do podcasts before, were on whatever, like they've totally turned against me and hate me, all those things. I'm still supportive of them and their efforts on their own. I supported them in the first place. It sucks that they did what they did, but I'm always supportive of people taking that step, because I think it's, when you're fighting an info war, the more voices you have trying to win that war, the better. Ash says, I think he was saying it's unfortunate we call it that. That is not unfortunate at all. That's the best. If there's ever going to be a term for like a missile that just sneaks through, a squirter is by far the best thing we could call that. John, what's your take on the Promethean Action Group? Those old ladies put forth some info that makes it all make sense. Yeah, I get asked that all the time. There's so many people that like what they say, and I've listened to some of their stuff. It's good. It's good. It's AI written. I mean, they're clearly reading off of AI scripts, so let's not get it twisted. This doesn't mean it's bad info. Some of their, I will say this, I don't know any of them personally. Some of their background and like where they come from is a little questionable. But hey, if you like what they say and you agree with what they're saying, like, go for it. I don't think it's I don't know. I haven't seen anything nefarious or anything, so go for it, man. Some of the stuff they says makes a lot of sense. I just don't like I don't know. It's like even with like Bannon, like I like a lot of the stuff Bannon says. I think it's signal, but I don't know if Bannon's white hat, black hat. You know what I mean? It's like with any of these people. I don't know. I just don't know. So do your thing. Bather to Dave, I'm retarded and start a podcast. You're one of us, man. What else? I think anything else you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, I could send you over to Y-Chromes. That squirter was in a hard spot. John, was the Special Forces moved to the SecDef rather than the CIA under Trump first term? Yep. Congress is occupied. They would have approved these strikes. Yeah, probably. Bridger Livestock, watch out when you go down these rabbit holes. Sometimes the T is silent. I like that. Thank you, Bridger. It's Britain, but Britain is not just Britain, in my opinion. Yeah. Do you think the Ayatollah is on version 17 yet? Hammer Guy 35. By far the best show ever today. Yeah, this is my best show today so far. Speaking of that, I will be back on tonight. Baseless Conspiracies with Zach. So make sure you tune into that. And I think with that, I'm going to wrap her up. Send you guys over to Y-Chrome. So do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Look at that. Even though I got all that weird amount of hate from people that never interact with me online, I still have the same number of it's roughly the same number of viewers I normally get. And that's even with Y-Chrome's going on right now. Isn't that crazy? Every time I'm sitting near my husband during the Daily Herald, the conversation goes south. That's from Jessica. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry at all. Does your husband like the show at least? Laney Lou, some think this went down in 2018, 2020. We're watching a movie. Yeah. I think there's even some disagreement about what that means. Like we're watching a movie. I got a DM from an account, a Q account that has a completely different perception or take on the whole watching a movie thing. It's much more in line with my take on things. I mean, much closer to my take, not in line with, but it's closer. But I think that's something they don't like. They need to talk them out amongst themselves and get on the same page. Ty says, is this when I announced my departure to Wycrombs? I'll send you there if you want. Jon Herold for U.S. Congress. I don't want to run for Congress. Like, have you seen one congressman that's like, oh yeah, I like that guy? I mean, don't get much of that now anyway, but I don't want that to be another reason for people to hate me, you know? Ash is standing by to run John's campaign. Maybe I'll do some local office type stuff first, work my way up. I'll start with you, state representative, then I'll be governor here, and I'll just totally take over the state of North Dakota in terms of, like, you know, no taxes on anything. We're going to use all the oil revenue that we clearly have and can make and make it great. I'd make North Dakota great again. And that'll be my campaign, even when I run for president. Let's make North Dakota great again. Tim Burchett. I'm going to try to get Tim Burchett on. I guess I'm never going to run for Congress until my kids are completely, not that I would want to, but before I even consider like that to be an option, it wouldn't be till my current and any potential future kids are all the way out of the house and grown up. I'm not going to miss out on any more time with the kids than I have to. John, get Fetterman for an interview. You know, I have a contact now with a staffer for Pat Harrigan or whatever. Maybe I'll see if they can hook me up with some other people. Senator Kennedy is about the only one that I like. He's hilarious. Yeah, Burchett seems solid too, but it's hard to, like, I don't know. In today's day and age, even the ones that say based things, sometimes they're still probably uniparty. I need you here in Minnesota. My brother's there in Minnesota. Anyway, okay, I'm going to get you guys out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you tonight on Basis Conspiracies, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Have fun over at Wycrombs. I'm sure, I mean, if you thought me talking about squirters was bad, wait till you see some of what they talk about. Catch you later, everybody.
Read all about it.
3. Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.